Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Esports U broadcast of the evening. The Overwatch regular season is beginning to wind down as we're preparing to spring into those playoffs. And, of course, I'm Tiny Shiny, joined by the wonderful Twin Salty to walk us through this final week of the regular season. Twin Salty, tell me about all your thoughts, seeing all these teams come together for an incredible season just to have it all end right here.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird feeling, you know, the season coming to a close. It's been a very entertaining spring for sure. A lot of different metas that we've seen, and obviously we just had a patch hit yesterday that Maga meta that I think everybody was kind of hoping would end is dead, thankfully. Like, it's gone. Please never bring that back, Blizzard. Like, we think he's cool, but not that cool. But I'm curious to see how teams pivot. I know in Collegiate, it wasn't as dominant of a force yet. We still were seeing a lot of the Ramatra, and we saw a lot of the Doom even a little bit here and there. I wonder, though, if Orisa starts creeping back in today. That is something I've been hearing a little bit in the Scrimbucks here and there. I can't tell if I buy them quite yet, but we'll see if Marist or Kean decide to bring it out.
Especially when you're looking at these two teams, right, who've found success within these more brawl-style compositions. Of course, Kean coming into today at a 4-1 record, set to lock themselves in to that first seed if they're able to beat Marist out in today's match. But Marist, on the other hand, are currently at 2-3, wanting to tie up that record of their own. Have had a difficult season moving on through, and having Kean being the final opponent, I mean, Twin Salty, that's a difficult one to look down at.
It's a very difficult task. I think the only thing that would be more scary is if it was Fisher. Because Fisher is Fisher. We love all of them, though. They're great. But I would be petrified if I was playing a Fisher team, especially right now. They seem to be going on all cylinders as of late. Oh, yeah. But I think for Marist, no matter what you take this as, hey, it's a clean slate for everybody right now. Like, nobody really knows where this meta is going to land post-patch. It's the final game of the regular season. There's no need to, like, oh, we need to hide certain strats for later in the season or anything like that. This is it. You just need to show everything you have right here, right now, and it's at least a very easy starting point for them here, as I will be the ever-so-popular Lijiang Tower.
Ever so popular. Do we see anything else other than Lijiang Tower ever these days, Twin Salty? Like, it feels like we're here every single game.
It's like our second home at this point. Like, summer vacation.
Yeah. Kings Row is the home,
here.
And then it's Lijiang Tower. You know?
And then maybe Sugar Royale for a little, like, spring break visit.
Yeah.
That seems to be, like, the vibe as of late. But honestly, like, we can at least see a lot of the rush here. Maybe we see some Sim, even though Sim even got changed up a little bit in the most recent patch. But no matter what, Sim's always going to be lurking. But instead, we actually see the Zarya that we've seen a little bit over in OWCS, EMEA. And, is that bait or is that is real? Okay.
No. What?
Wow.
Was this on your docket today?
Nope.
That's the appropriate reaction. A wrecking ball making an appearance has been coined one of the worst heroes you can play in Overwatch, at least in that tank department. Now coming out, I mean, already it's off to a wonderful start. The pile drive coming up with that disruptor shot. And get the main support out of the cards. Marist choosing to persist on fours, has the objective under lock. A lot more frontline presence having a Zarya. You're just kind of lasering down players such as Waffle Iron. In this exact instance, Kean need to clean up quickly because DGTX is taking care of the entire backline right now. Marist, despite going down early, are going to stabilize behind their tank.
Wow, what a play there from Marist, and they'll actually even get a little bit of a stagger as GGDX just stays alive. They're able to get both supports in the back line, and they just play the slow game. This Kean composition, they need to play very fast, and when they can't isolate those targets early, they have to kind of retreat like Leo just did there.
They did manage to isolate Rom King, but it wasn't enough to find another timing onto a single player. So Marist have been able to just stand on their feet. There's no sweat at all. And the Leona is running for their life. And GG Dax sitting here on full charge. You need something to go right. And that is a Bones head rolling across the night market. Agu and Kean striking back in minefield to clear the rest of the players away. As soon as that tank goes down, Marist struggling to regroup.
I feel bad for Comrade. He's like, do I touch? Do I not? It's like, I guess I'm not. And the big thing there as well, the Coalescence getting canceled from Rom King. They try and pop it as soon as the mines go down to try and clear. And yeah, they get shot right away. So the big ult there turned out to be not so much, but they do have the grab to work with and the sound barrier as well if they need that little bit of extra assistance.
And even that, you're going to have the Graviton Surge go out, the Kitsune even, so that's both support ults, and all of Kean are still on their feet. But typically the later sound barrier is the one that comes out on top. Both teams still standing pretty strong, I say that, until Agu puts Bear into a splatter somewhere amongst the walls of Night Market, and it's Kean on a quick cleanup for Fight 3.
Nice little cleanup there in Beans as well.
Yeah.
Putting out the Kitsune Rush. Even though it wasn't as much damage as she was probably thinking it could have been, it honestly just helped keep everyone alive when they were trying to survive through that Grav. Marist will stick with the Zarya for now. As Comrade, this Reaper's in a weird spot because typically it'd be to help the front line, but Leo's not really sticking around long enough for Comrade to really be able to do a whole lot in that department.
Kean doesn't really have a front line, and that's where players like B-Comics come in. That's probably the closest to a front line you're going to get. All right, Comrade. At least putting the majority of the damage into that elimination. Kean, yes, they're still in control of the objective, and they're choosing to ignore it, getting Rom King out of the fight. One of the most valuable picks you could grab out of Marist, other than the tank themselves. Another minefield goes through, a bone explodes, walking straight into the Orb of Destruction. GD Dash is off the point. They're going to try to go for a reset here, but it's such a risky play, especially with the late stagger.
Yeah, that's a very risky place. They'll try and get those staggers.
Oh, they gotta live.
As Rom King will actually be able to get out. But now the question is, who is the touch? It seems like it was going to be a bone, but no, they will get a touch.
They're gonna go in. Doomfist is out, but another stick? Agu is running an absolute muck here in round number 1. Kean leading on their Tracer player, and Marist have been struggling to keep up. Another one in the kill feed for Agu just to go ahead and round it up. There's only so much a single Doomfist can accomplish when your entire teammate is down. You have no friends to back you up in this one, buddy. Kean have been looking strong ever since they got a grip onto the objective. They're not going to let it go. It is a nice pulse bomb from Bone to close it on out. And Kean walking away 135.
I can't believe this ball comp is working right now.
I don't want it to work.
I can't believe it right now. But they're honestly playing it really well. Leo Leon just kept weaving in and out. They were never really sticking around for too long, which is exactly what you need to do on the Wrecking Ball. And Becomix and Agu were always there. Whether it be Agu trying to push forward, trying to find them in the back, Becomix playing the range game. Even though, yes, occasionally Becomix got hunted down because, like you said, they did kind of become the front line in a weird way.
Yeah.
But I do think it is even going to be better here on Garden because there is so much more boop ability right on the outside of the point, just like it was over there on downtown. And Marist will just go to the full dive themselves and try and more maybe counter dive. Wallflower and Beans, who didn't really have much pressure at all that round.
Okay,
oh, well.
Goodbye, Abode. Yeah, you're a pancake, Beans, an expert with the kunai, and something I didn't mention earlier, Twin Salty, I don't know how much potential you played at Calling All Heroes, but there's this team, Kunoichi. They've made this Wrecking Ball composition with the Lucia, the Mercy, the Pharah. That's what Kean has been doing all season long. It's worked out for them so well, and they haven't even opted to switch it, even with different patches going through.
No, it's been great to see a comp, especially from Calling All Heroes, kind of find its little growth here in Collegiate now.
Yeah.
Because it's not the most...
As interesting as it is.
It's not the most standard composition, to say it that way. But they've been managing to make it work. There you go. Cleanse is already taken out, but Agu is punished.
But don't argue that trade for Bear is significantly more valuable in the long run. I mean, Kean, you're going to get Leone out there, no problem. The Hamster, an escape artist, essentially. And Marist, they're going to start some contention on the objective, but they haven't been able to nail anyone down. Ideally, you have to get this pick onto Becomix, but all the healing is coming in. You could lose Rom King in the props, so all of this throwing through sustain is low. Kean is able to regroup. They have an even amount of players to continue contesting this objective. Pulse bomb for Leone. I didn't even notice. It's like being stung by a mosquito with that much overhealth on your side. Finally, Marist are going to find something in the kill feed, but you're only going to be diving straight down into a minefield. Rom King just had to fall to their death into the explosions. Bear not faring too well themselves either, as Kean are going to manage to survive throughout all the chaos.
They're able to find both supports, and yeah, point never flips over during that time frame as well, and poor Rom King tries to swift step in to try and help their Doomfist. And yeah, it went right into the mines, and it's like, well, that's a little unfortunate. and they don't have a lot to work with quite yet. They're getting close to their support ults, close to their DPS ults, but you don't have a lot of time to really work with.
No, Mars need to make a move now, and not a ton of time to do so. Thankfully, Aku's Pulse Bomb goes wide, at least if you're a fan of the Foxes. And you're going to be an even bigger one if that Kitsune Wash from Wrong King on board. DPS down on either side. Yet Kean have a lot of these tools to use in the later part of this fight, should they opt to do so, but they've waited so long to actually initiate. It's only the death of Agu will they'll start pumping in these ultimates, and it seems to be too little, too late. Marist are slowly starting to get a grip onto this objective. Only Leone fighting back and forth. The overclock on the other side because thinks this is winnable, and all of the shots are going blind, even hitting one into themselves. But for finally, Marist gained some progress.
Poor Agu. That's
unfortunate.
That's unfortunate, but hey, Marist cap. They get they don't have to use Blade for it. They're almost at another Meteor Strike, almost at another Pulse Bomb. It could be worse here for the Red Foxes. I'll say it that way. It could be way worse, but they still have the glaring issue of what do you do with Leo Leon? Like, that is the big question, because Rom King, you can see right here, already have health, have to play for their life every single time.
And they're just like letting him deal with it too. I mean, you have to enforce some of these processes onto the front lines, and you get the training. Oh, poor Rom King is just taking a beating from the little hamster. Leone, an absolute menace on this character. Bono has been stepping it up here on our second round. Guard is down, the pulse is gonna land. It's just Marist starting to stabilize in a situation that's starting to look really dicey.
It's not completely gone yet, but I think it's winnable here if they can try and find a kill quickly.
Oh,
but yeah, Waffle Iron's gonna shut the door on that pretty fast.
Poor Ron King's just not having a good time. Simple as that. Kean have their number. Have realistically been that main target, and once that Kiriko goes down, there's little sustain. The rest of the players are just like toppling over dominoes, essentially. Waffle Iron, that's his third final blow of this fight alone. Staggersky coming in, Night Market notorious for it, especially with how fast each of these individual characters are. Hoping a minefield for Kean can start to slow down some of this craziness, but the main point of it has been a bone staying alive as long as they have, as Rom King dies for the third time in this engagement.
And now all of a sudden the kills start swinging back, and well, there we go. Right when Marist thought they maybe actually won the fight, Kean's like, no, this is our map, and they will be able to get to a 1-0 series lead.
Wow, just wow, that's wrecking ball for you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Kean. They have not swapped up their strategy from the first week of this season. I mean, this is why they're looking clean to lock in that very first seed, and it's the chaos. Nobody knows how to game. They don't know what to do with this very gentleman right here, Leo Leon, the hamster, striking fear into Marist.
I still can't get over it. I know I should have, like,
just don't shock.
knew this was a possibility going into tonight, especially with Kean being, Kean. But I'm like, are they actually going to run this right now when, especially, like, Doomfist is pretty decent right now in the dive. Same thing with Diva. Doom's getting a lot of play over in Korea. But I'm like, I respect it. Hey, stick to your guns.
Exactly.
And they're doing great so far. And now puts Marist in a weird spot to where they probably don't typically try and counterpick maps for a ball comp. So it's like, what do you even do here?
That's a tough part. Is Marist, you can try to counter pick it, but even with the maps that are in the pool, like, are you gonna try to force them on more of a brawl type? I mean, that's not like Kean are unfamiliar with brawl. Their Ramantra comps are very strong. It's just a matter of, do you think you're gonna fare better against that than you will the hamster? Like, how often do you have to? Do you find yourselves in a situation like this one? Like, what is going through the coach's head right now? That's what I want to know.
Reset button. That is all you have to say if you're the coach. Reset. That map does not exist. Like, just don't even pretend that it existed, because that was a weird one. That was a weird one if you're Marist. I didn't mind the Zarya comp being pulled out, at least initially. Obviously not knowing what Kean was running, because that honestly has been building up some steam. And on a map like Kings Row, which, we're going back home, I guess, from our summer home to back home in the UK. It could work, right? It could work. Yeah. And I would almost love to see a Junkrat be played. Can't believe I'm saying that in 2024.
You did not just say that. No.
But we saw some. We saw some.
But that's
the other day in OWC. I know that's Kaya. I know that's a little bit of a different scenario. But hey, even if you just put the trap behind you, whether it be to try and catch the Tracer or the ball running through, you at least know that somebody is back there. Even if they try and break it, you can at least maybe anticipate the dive a tiny bit more, but it's a call. I guess you could do the Torb as well. Torb's probably the more smart pick here, but the Junkrat entertainment value-wise, maybe, a little bit.
Playing for the entire, screw winning. We're playing for the entertainment value
We're playing for, all the scrim bucks. All of them.
Scrim bucks in an official match. That's what we're talking about. Oh, boy. This is gonna be a match of all time. I can tell you that right now. And how practical even is the Hammond in a lot of these points? Like perhaps on first attack, but the Streets phase and even third point, that seems far from ideal in many of these situations. So a swap is gonna be likely.
Yeah, they're at least teasing the Winston, which that is way better on this map theoretically. Marist will actually go the Sigma, like the poke comp, which I like this actually. I really like this from the Red Foxes.
But I think they're anticipating the Wrecking Ball with both the Sombra and the Cassidy. Like seeing the Ramattra come out, that's going to be in for a nasty surprise. Comrade already in a heap of trouble to poop on through, thankfully able to narrowly translate Gate to the rest of their team. And Marist is thrown on out. This is a very success immediately, or you're going to fall over and it's not going to even look like you were there in the first place. Like, this comp has so many big weaknesses, and the first one is that Sombra getting caught out. Waffle Iron has been hunting for these DPS players, and Marist, they're in a dangerous spot. Look how low GG Dax is. Bear is under pressure to rotate through the entire objective. Yeah, you're not living with those good old grandma legs. Quick cap from Kean.
Quick cap from Kean, and they're like, "Oh, Marist, you're trying to counterpick us? Uno reverse. No, we're gonna counterpick what you think we're bringing out, and they're gonna go back over now to the Zarya, which this is probably what they wanted to run initially on this map anyway. I don't think they're gonna complain, but man, poor Rom King. Like, save my boy Rom King. They are getting bullied this entire series so far. They will go over to the Genji as well. No reason to stay on the Sombra with what Kean are running. This, I think, gives the Red Foxes at least a chance. Yes, you're going to be at an ult disadvantage. Pulse is already online.
Oh, no.
But compositionally, at least gives you a chance.
Much better. You have sample ground to stand on. That's a plus. But are you ready for an explosive device or just a goo in general? The Fade forced out Rom King narrowly escaping with his life. He's like, guys, just let me play the dang video game. Kean not letting him have a chance. But this time, it's Lilione that's actually blown to smithereens. The attempt to save him has gone far beyond. And Marist, it appears that they're actually going to get some form of defense going here on the Streets phase.
And they find a goo in the back line. Eventually, Rom King gets their revenge.
Woo!
The DPS that's been terrorizing them this series. The window, I don't mind the placement of it. It's like, yeah, you want to try and get Cart past that choke point because it can be a little awkward. But it just didn't end up actually getting anything in a bone. With this magnetic grenade, this is ballsy.
Whoa! Yeah, that's one way to put it. I mean, the bubble certainly helped. The speed amp. Are you ready for Kean's return? Use all of your resources to go in. You come out with nothing. King's like, all right, it is our turn. Bada bing, bada boom, and kaboom goes Marist with Annihilation. Cherry on top could have held on to that, arguably, but if you get the team like nonetheless, Kean, they're forcing this objective.
I wonder if they were popping that. I need the extra armor health. Like the reset on the armor was maybe the thought there from Leo. I don't mind it. Did they need it? No. They probably didn't in the grand scheme of things, but they still have Overclock to use from Becomix, who is really winning the range game over a bone, and Comrade has not been able to really challenge that so far.
Not really. It's not really going to matter here. Comrade's going to want to play close anyways. The Dragonfly pulled out. Wonderful mortality field. Keeps Becomix up a lot longer than it arguably should have, but it doesn't stop Marist from breaking down Kean's previous progress and continuing their hold here on this Streets part.
They could stabilize here, I think, for the Red Foxes. There is a decent chance. They think somebody is behind.
Who's still back there?
Is somebody behind?
Is there?
Oh, yeah.
Good, there he is.
You wonder if they were trying to force the C9 or the back cap, and Kean was like, not Kean, Marist's like, we know you're back here. You're not smart. You're not, not going to be able to hide back here during the entirety, so they at least get that pick off. But no, Kean gets the advantage. They have that window to work off of, and especially if Becomix is able to find an opening pick from it, especially on a bear, it could spell trouble here for the Red Foxes.
Yeah, but they're going to move in aggressively instead with the sound barrier. I like this. Taking initiative, and you get a goo. All right, you took the play. You're reaping the reward. Why not push forwards a little bit more, Marist? It's going to continue to clean up the rest of Kean, and they're going to try to go to the spawns. All right.
I wonder if they were trying to hunt Becomix. They were very low, but yeah, no, they're going to try and back up now. Not gonna run the risk, because they don't want to commit heavy to Archway, because it does leave you open for a back cap, maybe a little too much.
Yeah, well, they're going in with this play. Round 2, maybe not going to hit, but oh, Beans, she's in a heap of trouble. Can she manage to get out? Yes! She's going to get the trade, bare minimum. Kean, though, being down their main support, certainly in more trouble. So, Marist, you're okay to play without your DPS. You're going to have the Graviton storage online, and the hold continues.
They've been rotating their ults very nicely so far during this. Like, even there, yes, it's a very weird set play. And if anything, it's just trying to force the immortality field down. And, hey, if you get something, you get something. But, no, it's actually been working out really well. And now they have the Koa and the grab. Well, no longer.
Why'd you have to say something? Why did you have to say something? GG Jax just wanted to use the Graviton Surge, and suddenly you go from 500 HP to 0. Kean is going to march on forwards, and that's really unfortunate, too. There's, as you said, have done an incredible job rotating those ultimates, and unfortunately, they didn't even have the opportunity to blink before they were blown to smithereens.
No, they didn't even get to use any of it. This point will be capped, and, you know, you know this, Tiny. Like, I'm known for my curses. That was not one of my normal ones. Like, that's
not,
that's not the normal 3 Overwatch curse that I see. So I'm sorry.
Hey, you might have helped the 3 Overwatch come true. At least the Graviton Surge is gonna hit its mark this time around, and Rom King getting beams. Very valuable pick, and it is an ultimate slugfest out on the field. I believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that have been committed in total. Still Marist at the end of the day, standing on top of the cart. Waffle Iron trying to 1v3, but yeah, not happening this time.
Not happening. A 7th got thrown in there at the end. A goo through Pulse Bomb.
A goo.
And it did not get anything. I believe GGGX had their bubble to get out of it. But hey, at that point, wait, it was a 2v3. It's a winnable fight. I don't see it as a horrible idea for Kean. And they still, for Marist, you hold on to Sound Barrier.
That's big.
That's very big.
And they're having this like rushing Deadeye fight. We need to think of a good name for that. The quick cowboy? I don't know. We'll have to get to the brainstorm. Surely they're going to do the same thing again. That's the bubble. That's the spin. And it's going to get Peacock. 3rd time's the charm, apparently, for a bone. Topping it off with a 2nd. Oh, I love that play from Marist.
Maybe Quick Noon?
Quick Noon?
Quick Noon? We'll workshop it. Chat, let us know. If you got any ideas for it, leave it in chat. But they again hold on to beat. They have Blade to work with again, and as soon as I said Comrades had a little bit of an issue, they've actually doing well on the Genji. Well,
you just gotta stop saying nice things about Marist. You really do. Like, every time it happens, it's Beans with her Ant Matrix, an absolute menace on the Baptiste if you're not familiar with her, and it just slams Marist back down into the ground, even in overtime stall. Isn't looking too possible. Comrades here with a Dragon Blade has the beat to go with it. Good old Beat Saber combo, as we like to call it. Slicing and dicing, it's all over health and shielding. It gets essentially nothing done. Swati with a wet noodle. And Comrades falls at the end of the day. You just sit on the payload with an Annihilation. These blocking forms. Leo Leone isn't going anywhere whatsoever when Kean just has to hold on the cart. Marist have to walk into them. It's a Graviton Surge. GGDX, the last hope for Marist to make a comeback here and now. And it seems to do the job. Kean, they have to close this one out quickly. Now with the Annihilation expiring, going the full 20 seconds, mind you. They're going to have to try to stall it out. There's no way that Marist pushed this to at least in overtime. Even if they don't stall the cart, the final touch that they managed to get has been absolutely incredible to push them on through. It appears Canes are slightly favored at the end of the day. If there's minimal win conditions left online and everything in favor of that attacking side. Eventually, a Gooby Comics picking up the trenches, pulling the payload forward, that final meter for a full cap.
Ooh, that got close. That got close to Marist actually being able to hold on to that. They got 3 from the grab. And all of a sudden, it is just Waffle Iron and Leo, I believe, who were left standing. Like you said, Annihilation went the full 20. Yep. And they're like, all right, still standing, still just kind of hanging about. And they are eventually able to get the cap after McComics came back into the fight with that, with the ult. We're like, all right, let's get this done. Let's finish this. But it is big. No time left on the clock, and honestly, you know, the way this series, like, you look at that first point, you look at the time now, it's not horrible here for Marist. It's a workable situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the way it started, and you were looking about, I think it was 5 or 6 minutes, or well, almost 5 minutes, right? When you're finished that first point. The fact that Marist got that down to nothing is pretty dang impressive, and you do have to hand it to him. That ultimate management has been superb without that, and the reason that last overtime stall was as close as it was because of these decisions that they made to hold on to their tools. And you know what the most important thing is, Twin Salty? Rum King lived throughout an entire fight. It's possible.
They got the coalescence off. They were using it at the end. Did they eventually die? Yes. But they are, I think, starting to feel themselves in this series at least a little bit. And I don't mind this look here from Marist. Is it a little bit of a risky one? Yes. JQ is very hit or miss right now. But I don't mind it because there is no Mei on the other side. There's no real counter. There's no Ana as well. It could work.
Marist will say good any day of the week.
Yep.
We're going to go for this high down rotation, trying pressure to be Comics as a knife stick, actually, onto the soldier. The boop, though, from Waffle Iron and the speed boost to get their DPS out of danger. Even better, now DG Dax is going to be pummeled down into the ground. That was an early drop that none of the Foxes were prepared to follow up on. Kean, easy claps on the fall.
It looked so good for a second for Marist, but Kean was like, it's you overextended, maybe a tad. Because I honestly didn't mind the play. Like, all right, let's drop. Let's try and get someone in the back line. It was just the rest of Marist were not on the same page, like you said. They did not realize that, hey, we're dropping right now. 3, 2, 1. There was no 3, 2, 1. It was 1, go. Like, it was very quick from GGDX, but the knife accuracy is there. But Comics will have to be a little bit more safe about where they're holding, and Agu's already lurking.
He's going to be a little sneaky with it. Wants to kind of surface behind them. That's Suzu out incredibly early, and Kiriko slightly farther behind, but goodbye, Agu. Let us a 180 flick from like 3 players instantly around. And like, not this time. Agu has been a problem in their backline, finally dealing with it, finding the answer. Marist, they're in control of this fight. They want to make that push on forwards, and GG Dax is doing their best to break through. Yet Ramatra, with the amount of health that he has, it's difficult to actually find that opening, even with the sound barrier now. Waffle Iron, second light, pulled into Kean, but it's not doing much at all. Abone and Comrade Doge are working together as a tag team duo, tearing apart Kean one by one, and eventually securing Marist this cap.
And no ults used as well for Marist. Yeah. That is massive going into Streets phase. They don't have as much time as Kean did, obviously. I think they have about a little over a minute less than what the Cougars did during their attack. But honestly, you use no ults. Sound barrier is gone. It's a great start here for Marist if you want to try and make something out of it. There you go.
Yeah, bye-bye, Beans. That's unfortunate. Coalescence immediately canceled out. The pulse bomb, though. Okay, that's a kablooey for GG Dax. And yeah, they're still going to put the overclock into this? Okay, I'm not too sure. What? Okay, I'm not even going to try to comprehend a thought process. I guess Marist are closer to coming back, so you want to try to keep Kean from pushing up into the rest of your team. That's what we're going to chalk it up to. But B-Commons gets too cocky. Abo just rips his head off. And now Marist very much back in this battle. You still have 3 ultimates. Nothing to stop the rampage, at least in terms of a Suzu. It gets the tank. You have the Dragon Blade. This was dicey to say the least, Salty.
No words. I don't. That was a series of unfortunate events for Kean. And it's like, oh, you know, they're going to push us. They're going to push us. They pop Annihilation, and all of a sudden Marist's like, no, we're good. We're good. We're just going to chill. Backside library. And they're like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh, no, we're going to go. Rampage, go in. And that was, yeah, disaster. If you are a Kean, is one thing after another. Just everything went wrong.
You know, they want things to go right for this fight, but it's already gone towards the wrong direction, losing Waffle Iron. Comics on the high ground, overclock in hand. I mean, that's going to be the tool that Kean used to stop the push onto this point. Yet the shot's not landing in the way and they were hoping to do so, losing Leone and B-Comics again, falling to a bone. Brutal pickoffs. Marist are beginning their run back here in King's Row, just looking to cap off this final ejection, and you have to give it to a bone for the amount of work that they've been pumping in.
Oh, they've been a difference maker here on this attack. It's the main reason why they are 4 minutes basically going into this final phase. And they have forced Kean now to make those composition swaps. It's not Marist who we're having to change it. Rob King, you've been doing great, buddy. Let's not change the fates of how this attack has gone.
Uh-oh, Goose looking for the pulse.
Oh!
Ooh, it's onto a bone. I'm like, Rob King's like, hey, I get to live, but your soldier doesn't. That's a bit of an issue. Kean, though, they gotta find some way to stabilize. Absolutely steamrolled in that street phase. Their ultimate economy is in a rough state, to say the least. And Marist, it's really up to them the direction that this battle takes, and it'll be the first out. The Rampage sound barrier down, keeping everyone on their feet, and Kean key. That was Barrett's sound barrier, so as soon as Leone gets that purple of their own, they can decide to go out and strike, but no! It's canceled midway through. A bone is cleaning up the rest of the squad, and it's all falling apart for Kean, who started the series so dominantly.
It is all falling apart. A bone is him right now, getting all these kills. Everybody's coming out left door. That is where Marist is set up. Kitsune rush just to try and counter.
You got the blade though inside of that. What chance did Kean stand against Comrade when he's swinging at twice the speed? A triple kill for the Genji, and that's a cherry on top. 239, and worst case scenario for Marist is a draw.
Hey, I will say this: potential for the curse we were talking about earlier is quite low. Quite low.
Actually, wait, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Not gonna say it's gone yet because a draw is possible, and if we go 6 maps tonight, that's a whole different kind of producer curse. Certain Leighton. But no, that was a great push there from Marist. All the changes that we were kind of hoping they would make, they did. Change up to a new comp, make Kean try and actually counter you instead of the other way around. And a bone finally felt like they were really settling into this series. They were able to line up the shots, but Comics was not ruling the long-range game as they have been throughout the majority of this series. And funny enough, it is now Kean, actually, who is going over to the Zarya.
Okay. Look at how the tables have turned, especially in this game. And a lot of that has to do with a bone absolutely popping off, number one, but also number two, Kean, anytime they attempted to plan a fight out in terms of ultimate, it just got flipped upside down. Marist have been above them when it's come to that economy and managing it for those planned out fights, and it's going to be a tall task to defend for a full 2.5 minutes.
It's going to be very difficult. If Waffle Iron can stay alive here on this back high ground, they're playing a different angle than what Marist did initially. I believe it was a little bit closer into the point where Marist played on their defense. So it's at least you can move around a little bit more and then play more backside hotel and, send nades like that onto GGDX.
Find some way to get this started. I mean, Waffle Iron being on the Ana essentially has a giant target on his back. We have 3 players completely inting onto the Grandma. She doesn't stand a chance. And Kean right now, this is a big problem. All it takes is one shot from a bone, cleaning up another. Leone is off in the back line. He kind of gave a ring around the Rosie, around the statue, and that's going to be a swift cap from Marist. Oh boy, Jesse, do we have ourselves a series?
We got ourselves a series, Tiny Marist.
Woo!
They're not done. They are not done quite yet. 1-1 after 2, and Comrade, I admit, they were getting there. They were getting there in this series. The first half was a little rough, but at the end here, this was a gorgeous play. Nice little 1. You hit a 2, you hit a 3, and able to help with the cleanup as well shortly after. That was the kind of map we needed to see from Marist. We were wondering going in after Ligier, it was a little ugly. The ball comp obviously threw them off a little bit, but they go to a map where ball not going to work really much at all, and it settled into the comp that they wanted to play initially before they even saw that the ball existed. So they're like, oh, you're not running ball or any sort of dive? Okay, we'll just do what we've been wanting to do this entire series, and got a map win.
Exactly, and Rum King lived. That's also a big part of it, is Kean weren't able to find the same level of synergy and be able to kind of work through an even brawl comp. Now that there's actually a front line to fight with, Marist knew exactly how to handle that situation and could just fight them head on how they wanted, as you were talking about. And it is going to show us too, it answers the question we asked earlier of, is counterpicking for a Wrecking Ball comp going to throw this team off kilter? And Jesse, it certainly will, and we're gonna have to keep an eye on that as the series continues to progress. But before we get there, we are gonna head to a short break before we continue, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with some more Collegiate Overwatch. And welcome back to the banger of a series that we have here for the final week of ECAC Overwatch. Marist brought it back from the brink, or actually pretty much steamrolled their way through the attack on King's Row, tying up their series against Kean, the team of Chaos. And now they're going to be the ones picking our third map. And now, Twin Salty, we have an idea of what that map is, but absolutely zero idea where the series is going to go from here.
Yeah, it's not a map that we've seen a whole lot of as of late. We're going over to Route 66.
Yeah.
Which almost was like a taboo map in Collegiate for a while. It's like, we're just going to push that away. Like, nobody really wants to play. Like, a lot of people are playing Watch Point, or they want to play Circuit, or You know, we've seen Dorado, Rialto. We've seen all these different maps. Not Route 66 for a very long time. I wonder why. Part of me for this screams, hey, they're trying to run dive again. They're trying to run whether it be ball or some sort of that. Maybe even with like a pharmacy look, like you were saying earlier. We might get that full-on look instead of it kind of being without the pharmacy. But we also did have a sub come in.
Yes. And for the Lucio players, so Bear for Kean will be taking a back seat. We'll have Caesar Salad come in, which is interesting, Twin Salty, because Lucio is an integral part of pretty much any sort of these rush brawl compositions, and even in dive in some aspects. But you have to assume that, all right, if you're not going to have the speed from the Lucio, you are going some sort of other composition that is already fast enough on its own where you don't require that particular character.
To me, it either screams pharmacy or they're running like Brig Ana. To where, all right, they're fully committing to the dive. They want to make sure they have a Brig to protect the Ana, because we saw last map when both teams tried to run Ana. Spoiler alert, did not work very well.
Nope.
They got ran over both times. So you wonder if that's maybe also the direction they're going. I'm not sure which side of that island they're going to land on. Or maybe Caesar Salad's, still just going to play Lucio, and it's going to be, continuing to question us. What we're going to see. Oh, I know I said.
Wait.
Okay, they just swapped. I was about to say. But it's the Alari for Kean right now. I'm not even going to talk about what Marist is running until this round starts.
Good idea.
But the Babalari on this map, I don't mind it here from the Cougars.
I'll find my own path.
Honestly, no. That's a ton of additional damage, and Ilari a much more consistent threat at range than it would be a Zenyatta. But with I think the Hanzo's really the only odd thing that you would see. You don't see a ton of Hanzo these days, and he's essentially just chucking tree trunks down main. That's kind of nice, but who are you going to try to hit? Marist are sticking with this Doomfist sort of dive, and you're down Kean's Genji. So far, this bunker not working out. There's not much hope to really be put behind this, at least from the Genji's perspective, and it seems that Marist could care less about that setup. They've essentially just removed them from the base of the gas station.
Yeah, they just got moved all the way over to the other high ground, but it will be Kean falling because of that fact. Marist is picking him up one by one, but Rob King does die during this.
Poor Rob King. I mean, the guy just wants to live, and what? That was like 4 kills in half a second. My gosh, Kean.
Well, that's how you bring a fight back, I guess.
That works.
Not how I thought this would work, and I agree with you. This Hanzo pick it's definitely a choice, because he's kind of fallen away ever since, the headshot reduction got taken, and obviously all the health changes too. He's not, a one-ding guy anymore, right? Like, he's not always going to hit those one-shot headshots, and, well, Becomix, they have to wait a little bit.
You feel a bit of deja vu here, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the pylon is down, so that's a nice pick, but Rob King, it's the same thing happening again! What is this game? I refuse to believe that this is reality. I mean, Agu is still managing to trade this out regardless of the fact that their entire team is dead, finally put down themselves, so, I mean, Marist looking to get a full cap. It would not be wise for Kean to contest this.
No, there's no real reason for them to try and get forward, and Becomix may learn the exact reason why soon as they're actually able to get out, but it will be the point being capped by Marist, not having to really use anything. Neither team electing to use anything quite yet.
No, and to be fair, they haven't really had a big opportunity to do so, and
no.
I mean, if you're Marist, you're going to be the ones to initiate. I like to see a Captain Sun, though, from Beans. This is a lot of potential to just do amazing things. Put out the Gravitic Flux. Oh, Chef's Kiss. Absolutely beautiful. But it'll actually be the Nano Blade coming out of the pocket. First instant end to Agu and Waffle Iron. It was essentially waiting game, but the Gravitic Flux got slept, canceling the draw. Oh my gosh. 2 ultimates canceled just from a single combo of a Nano Blade.
What could go wrong?
I think that could have gotten worse.
I don't know if it could have, unless they like tried to use the Captive Sun or something during that, and then that got canceled. But that was quite a nice execution there from Marist. Like, no, we're gonna go right on in, and it will force a swap as well from Kean. Leo will go over to the Diva, which is a bit awkward with the Alari BAP.
And now the Diva's all lonely,
And
sleeping on the objective. I mean, it's just GG Dax turning everybody on Kean into a punching bag. Meteor Strike on down, Beams goes bye-bye, and Kean are struggling to find any form of stability. I really hope that's a swap from Malfoy.
I gotta think that's a swap. But no matter
still
what,
alive?
Marist will cap as poor Leo, and they're gonna get staggered out so long.
This game.
As oh man, this is torture. You could use this as a prison sentence. This is quite rough for Leo. Yeah, this card just continues to move on. Waffle Irons did swap.
Oh, okay.
And oh my, they got Megan.
Wait, just got the back. But Lily Ona can just fly right at what? Why did we let the people live? Why did we let the people? Okay, all right.
That'll be a VOD review.
That it's certainly one of those games to look back upon. Beats though wants to add some sort of stability to Kean's gameplay. Captive Sun unleashed. And Marist will be forced to back off as none other than Rob King is dead again.
Yeah, and a bone gets taken out as well. So some stabilization now for Kean.
Okay.
If they can hold on to this corner. I don't think the Lucio Alari is awkward here with the Diva, especially at this choke. Yeah. It's a little more enclosed anyway. I think it's a workable situation. Maybe not ideal, but it's not a total disaster as if they were running like Lucio Zen or something.
It could be a lot worse. I mean, the pylon gets more value in this indoor space as long as it stays alive, which is challenging when you have a lot of these dive characters who are going to be behind you. Fewer angles to work with, but at least this time Magoo does get an ultimate off before blowing up into a pit. Okay, goodbye to you. That's a pulse run from B Comics with absolutely no problem. GG Dax taking that every single day of the week. Caesar Salad opting to play frontline, not recommended for an Ana player. The Pale should move on regardless, though. These fights are scrappy, to say the very least.
I don't know if it will move forward at least at a decent pace, but Comics is able to get one. Self-destruct finds GGDX. The tanks trade, and it'll kind of be a ceasefire by the point as everybody just trying to figure out where everybody else went. As you talked about it, Agoo, they're going to stick the Hanzo, which I wasn't sure if they were going to after all, but I respect it, I guess.
You get Pulse Bomb one too many times. Surely you want to switch, but all right, you're going with the Dragon Blade. No Nano Boost, the Kitsune Rush. Instead, to combo it on up, and Comrade able to work with that just fine. And he coupled down to their name. Kean finally forced back off of this choke, and are going to have to rely heavily on a sound barrier to bring them back.
Yeah, need to rely on that, and maybe a late Pulse Bomb here from Comics if they can try and land it onto somebody from the back line, especially Caesar Salad, if they can get it off before the Nano.
I mean, the Nano's already out, but Caesar Salad, that's a sleep dart that was eaten up for breakfast, and this is why you don't play the Ana, friends. As fun as she is, you are just essentially a free pick for any sort of dive team, but, well, Marist, we're just letting your Ana take a beating. Kean, what happened to your back line? They got taken care of themselves, and they're going through. The Pulse Bomb doesn't hit much at all, and GG Dax is keeping this team on their feet. Mind you are playing into the spawns of Kean, so they'll be back a lot faster in these type of scenarios, especially when B Comics is able to stay alive. I spoke too soon. My apologies to you, Mr. B Comics. Marist are finally gonna roll this in seemingly. Yeah, okay, we got there eventually, and with a decent amount of time on the clock.
Yeah, decent amount of time on the clock and that's, yeah. No, that was decent. It almost felt like they were using their Ana as bait, which I feel horrible about. But even if that wasn't maybe the idea, I think, well, Rom King's probably happy. It's just not them that's being used as the bait this time. But Caesar Salad just getting served up in the bag, like, hey, go look at the Ana. We're gonna kill your backline, but just go look at the Ana for a little bit. And it worked. If that was the intention or not, I'm guessing it's maybe not the intention, but hey, it worked out in the end. We're in with over a minute left on the clock for Marist, and this is a very different team than what we saw over on Lijiang. They're way more confident, and they will try and go with a version of this poke, but wow, they will actually go with the Mercy Echo here. Okay, and if Leo sticks the ball, having that damage boost finishing beam may actually be pretty decent.
Especially with, this is where Marist got beat last time. Like on Lijiang Tower, their entire problem was Leon. And now with this damage boosted Echo, with how good a Bone's been kind of picking up this Cassidy, slowly scaling as a player, and perhaps this is the answer to that initial problem that they face. And if Marist can beat Kean on their best composition, they might as well be walking away with the series.
Yeah, they might as well. At that point, it's like, okay, I wonder how Kean will react to this, because as well, the magnetic grenade will stop any momentum that Leo has, whether it be Leo or Agu. But comics, the Sombra nerf did come through to, not even the nerf, just the revert of the absurd patch that came in for her, and she will be working over here. Oh, she's a salad. No.
All right, the sleep dart is in, and the kill. She's just like, I might be a senior citizen, but my reflexes are incredibly fast. All right, you take those, but please protect Caesar Salad. They're gonna need some assistance. If anybody else besides just B Comics even looks in their general direction.
Yeah, we don't need them just to become Caesar dressing on the floor. We need them to actually like stay together here in the back, and I actually don't mind this look here from Marist. Kean will have a real struggle of trying to get up on this high ground. Bean's taken out early.
I don't hate this at all from Marist. They're finding plenty of stability, and Lilione hasn't had a roll-through, essentially executed at the tail end of this fight. You do lose out on poor old Rom King here. Agu hasn't been dealt with yet, and soon escapes the backlines. Uh-oh, they're gonna spawn camp the Mercy.
Oh, please. Can we see if that's what's happening? It is.
Oh, it's
happening. No, not Rom King, please.
Oh,
and
the Sombra too!
Oh, my.
What a day to be a Mercy player.
This
and the Echo too? I mean, honestly, it's going to break him through the point as the support line gone, and they just didn't know what expected. Marist, they saw the Tracer walk into the way. Okay, you get one, but yeah, no, you're done. You're done here. You don't use any of your ultimates. You're just going to go see GG, you go next.
Is a bone's not switching. Okay. That was that's a call. I don't think it's a bad idea to stay in the Cassidy. I'm just like, that ult was something. But yeah, man, poor Rob King. But the dive was excellent from McCummix and Agu. Everyone was there, and McCummix will not get out though. Okay.
Had their back to Caesar Salad, and that is a mistake they probably will not be making again, though. Bone does fall. Resurrection is a potential. The nade, absolutely wonderful. Caesar Salad, despite all the struggles that they have faced this game, but putting in work, we didn't see anything. GG Dax. We'll maybe touch on that one later, but could have saved the team. Could have saved the team. Just saying, Kean just has to pop their support ultimates out. GG Dax like, all right, I give up on this one, and that was one a bit of a yikes.
Yeah, it's like, my bad, team. You know, let's regroup and try and figure out what's happening, because I don't mind the idea, but it's like you're trying to hit a ball when they're already in ball form. It can get a little dicey. Just a little dicey. As you can see, McCummix has the EMP lurking on this high ground. Going to try and catch him as soon as they actually commit to this fight.
EMP, not an ultimate to initiate, but much better to actually use once the fight's already begun. Imagine put Comrade on the ground in killing range for Waffle Iron. The Kean didn't find much more else, and in fact, they're going to lose out on Beans, and that's a brutal tick to lose. Trade outs, Agu is still alive. A Bone trying to run away as fast as possible. You're still going to be on your feet. The pocket of Rom King. Keep up with the Pale. The Pale, please, somebody touch. No! Surely not. Just after all the crazies we've had this series, we're going to add a C9 to that list as well. And they win the fight.
That is, well, I don't know if it would have mattered. Yeah, no, they're able to clean up. But I think that might also be partially mental boomage that probably just went on during that call. It was like, I don't mind them being aggressive. You want to try and push the back line of Kean. Again, especially with this ball comp, you've got to find those who are isolated. But that's painful. That is painful.
Swarm goes wide too. Marist just needs something to go their way at this point. Something must go the way of the Foxes, because hey, they're knocking on their doors. Duplicate used in an effort to stay alive onto the Sombra of all characters, and lose out on Caesar Salad. They've been taking the beating instead of Rom King this time around, but it doesn't matter. You're still down with support, and the goo is turned into a pancake. All right, that's at least something going your way. Waffle Iron, though, not having any of it. Sound barrier popped on through. Kean working on a second life, essentially, and they're going to be seeing that golden box of victory, or at least sending them to that next round. Marist not able to find a clean regroup, only forcing Kean back slightly.
Yeah, forcing him back. Stick hits. Oh, that's eaten by GGDX.
What?
No, the cleanse was used. DM was used underneath it to eat it up. That is massive.
Genius.
Or not.
Oh. I mean, it was a nice play. It was a nice touch. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter as the Wrecking Ball just thinks everything's a bowling pin. And goodbye, Marist. It was a last-ditch effort here on this defense, but it was a bit rough. Kean being back on their primary composition, and this is why you're afraid of this squad. Leo Leone, in particular, the help of a Goo and B Comics, and just the EMP to shut down any last dreams that Marist had of holding onto this objective. We're gonna trade out 2 for 2. Please stand the payload this time. That's all I have to say. Unfortunately, that payload, though, is exactly where the Wrecking Ball floating around. Leone is unstoppable. Has over 1,000 HP and a minefield to go with. I mean, who is even able to kill a hamster of this magnitude? Caesar Salad, though, grabbing a goo. It's only the hamster. Like, he doesn't even have to move at this point. He's just waiting for the players to walk into him. That's another beautiful pile drive. Kean's second sound barrier of essentially this objective online, and these guys, they're scrappy, they're messy, they ain't gonna be pretty, but at the end of the day, it appears that Kean will stand on top as the dust starts to settle and put Marist into further rounds. It's only a 30-second difference between the teams.
Marist almost brought that back. Got a little bit sketchy there for Kean. It was just the Wrecking Ball left on point after Marist got both supports. But like I said, all he has to do there is like, all right, I'm gonna chill on point. I got my minds down. Try me. Like that's really. But all he did was like, come on. I'm like, I know you want to try and get me. Let's go. Let's do it right now. And it just did not work. Marist had no way of really punishing the ball. They didn't have a Samara. The Echo wasn't able to really get the ball even down to half health to try and finish it with the finishing beams. So not bad there for Marist, but honestly, Kean, this is the Kean we like seeing, right? This is the Kean. All right, we're gonna show the wacky ball comp, and it's actually going to work. And they'll actually just go out on defense, which is a little bit harder to run. You have to be a little more methodical about your engages. You can't spawn camp Rom King like you did over on your offense, but it could work, especially with how this first round is set up. It is so spotty in some of these spots. This defense ball could work.
It can, and if Kean needs something to go right, it's been this Wrecking Ball, and it's really the only thing they've actually found success on, now that you think about it. So, the fact that you're not switching it up, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and they're going to keep running onto the hamster until essentially Marist come back and absolutely pound them with this Doomfist comp. Very little time to work with, though. Pushing the payload is going to be a main priority, forcing as much progress as possible. But again, finding these timings, these small windows to coordinate between the disruption of a tank and the additional damage of either a bone or comrade. And Marist, you're asking for a lot of team coordination that Leone's entire job is to disrupt.
They just, they punched Leo off.
No.
They were almost waiting for it at that choke, and it was perfectly executed. Hack goes on to Waffle Iron, and everything is crumbling around Kean right now. It'll have to be a reset. And Marist, you needed the first fight to go well, and, well, you did exactly what you needed to do.
You bait Leon into the bait of all time, and certainly a cannibal, if you've ever seen one. But, yeah, Kean will have their numbers back. Very fast composition, and they're very spread out, though. I mean, Leone hasn't found a successful dive or really the means to go in Beans. Is hanging on for dear life. The pressure from both teams yet, but either dive has found anything. It's the pulse bomb, a bone onto a goo of all players. finally light up the kill feed, but they're slightly more red than blue. A 4v3 in favor of Marist. They need more, being an overtime cap. And Bone getting that pick onto Waffle Iron, and a significantly greater ult charge on the side of the current attackers. It's going to be enough to push them through this first objective, and now Kean really needs to be in overdrive, especially with how much Bone has been doing.
Yeah, Bone's been lighting it up on the Tracer. We saw them light it up on Sojourn earlier, and overtime will continue on here for Marist, and they have more ultimates to work with as well. They have the sound barrier, almost a 30% advantage over Waffle Iron, who is not really close to having it quite yet. You'll have to get a little bit deeper into this fight to have it, but a lot of eyes onto Agu. About to have that pulse. They need to stick it.
Ooh, a Bone. Almost died there, but all right, Agu, this is your time to shine. You've done it before. Can they do it again? No stick, no kill. If they do it against Caesar Salad before the sound barrier comes out, that's an even better situation to go through the minefield on point. They just get off the car. Force C9, forced.
Yeah, I will say that if there was the minefield there, I'm maybe a 0.5. A 0.5. I don't know if they were even in a spot to touch, but like you said, sound barrier off the board, right? They get Caesar Salad really early, and everything kind of crumbles around them at that point. So I'm not going to count them. We're not counting two C9s in one map, unless it's blatant. Please don't have another blatant one. Please no. But I liked that Marist at least like, hey, we're going to go the Sombra. Like, Kean has been running it, and more just for the Doomfist, honestly, than anything. But like, oh no, they have a ball. We are going to try to run this Sombra, and it worked to decent effect. Other than Leo, yeah, they were able to get that minefield down and go from there. As I know I talked about the horse making an appearance. I didn't think this would be the context of
what?
Okay, that's okay. And they will go the Ana break that we thought they would see with the sub. Okay.
Death ball, like if somebody dives in, we are going to execute them. That's the vibes I'm getting. Or close hold. All right, I'm here for this.
Close hold. Okay. I like this. I do like this because as long as you play compact, yes, obviously Cade's going to try and boop you around, whether
Caesar
it be
Salad.
Leo or Becomix. Caesar Salad, I like that they're playing a little far away, though. Don't go into the mess.
Yeah, that's honestly, there's not an ideal position for you to be playing in. And all right, you're off to a successful start from Marist. Perhaps not expecting the Orisa, but that's what I was afraid of happening. You see the Ana all up by her lonesome, and you're just gonna chase her. You're gonna free elimination. How's the Orisa gonna stay alive in these long fights?
Well, the big question for me is, how is Leo gonna stay alive in these fights as well? As soon as they walked in earlier, they got javelin, they got hit with grenade, and they were at like 70 health by the time they went back into spawn to heal that time around. Same thing. It's going to be a little tricky, but I do agree they're going to spawn.
Oh no. Can you imagine again? They're attacking while Caesar Salad's still on the high ground now. That's both DPS committed, so it's still a 4v3 in the front lines, and they're just letting Caesar Salad be the bait for the team. Rob, King, and a Bone have done an excellent job just cleaning up the rest. They don't have a support line anymore, though, so this is the time that you need to take that reset and kind of back off.
Unless you want to try and get the straight pulse bomb. Wow.
Okay.
And they're, I think, just going to die at this point. They don't want this cart moving at all. They're going to try and commit to it as much as they can, well, except to Bone. There's no reason to.
No,
Twice now, Bone. I gave you the benefit of the doubt the first time. That time, not so much. But don't. I thought he was about the ult, too.
All right, you're switching. All right. That's okay.
All right.
On the Tracer, that actually makes a ton of sense, especially as they're heading into an overtime push. So, I mean, Marist, they accomplished exactly what they wanted to there.
Oh, exactly what they wanted to. It's basically overtime. By the time this payload's even getting to gas station, which is massive, you would have to lose 2 fights in a row here, maybe even 2 and a stall to lose this map. But Kean are getting these over. Becomix dies!
They're gonna die, and there's a Terror Surge on the line. GG Dax pulling it out. All the fade, all the cooldown pop, but the Wrecking Ball is gonna be slapped right into the middle of it. Woo, what a way to take out the hamster and send a message to Kean that you guys might be wacky, you might be causing the chaos, but Marist have managed to tame it, pull back on the reins, and push themselves up to a match point.
Okay, Marist. Okay.
I see you.
This is not what I thought was going to happen on that map. So you look at Route 66, and it's like, all right, Dive City for the first 2 areas of it. And it historically is, but they were able to find an answer the second time around, bringing out the Orisa. And like, all right, we're going to throw you something that you guys probably don't expect. Basically, the exact opposite of what happened on Lijiang Night Market, right? It's like,
yeah.
Oh, we're going to show you something. You're probably not expecting it. And you don't have the time to counter it because, hey, ticking time, you don't have it. So Marist go to series point as we get ready for push, which the ball is not good at because push, like, as a game mode, is a death ball game mode. So it is extremely hard for a ball to work. And honestly, Marist, that was a map they needed to win, and they did.
No. Here's what I am gonna say though: if you're the slightest bit of superstitious, I've casted for Kean 3 times this entire year. Every single time, they have gone to 5 maps, and every single time they have won.
Okay.
Just saying. It's possible for this team to come back and clutch. There isn't a doubt in my mind. This is still a very close game, even if there are some fundamental questions going around. Marist have come on top of the chaos so far. Push in itself, though, can lead itself to this more, as you said, death ball type of game style. So things are going to get crazy. They're going to feed further into this play style that's already been forced, but in reality, it is up to Kean to make that decision to find some sort of response, because now your go-to composition no longer valid. What else do you have left to show us?
Unless they want to go, you know, to that Winston dive that they almost teased a little bit on Route 66, I would have said Esperanza, but we're not. We're going to go up north a little bit, over to Canada.
Really?
New Queen Street will be our map, which feels like forever since I've seen New Queen Street. It's almost like everyone's kind of tabooed that map as well. It's almost like with Route 66, maybe not to that extreme, but everyone's like, oh, we love Coliseo. We love Esperanza, and we kind of just push New Queen Street away. Not because of the poutine, though. Poutine's great. Poutine is very good, but I don't know what Kean's going to run. It's weird to say because historically, like you said, like, oh, they love running these ball comps that we've seen, you know, all over the place. I don't know what they're going to run here.
Let's be honest, Jesse, do we ever know what Kean's going to run?
No.
There's such a wild card in anything
that
they show up in. In the last series that they played against Northern Ohio, that they almost got reverse swept in, they did select to go to this map. And for a very good reason. I will say, they started out incredibly strong, almost got it for a full capture before Ohio made, like, the comeback of a lifetime.
I remember that game,
This is where it gets dicey. So they're going to stick with the Wrecking Ball seemingly to start it out. I'm not against it, especially if there's not a horse on the other side. That's where Marist actually were able to plant their flag and stand their ground, but you're going to lack that stability for the first part, and it's going to put this Wrecking Ball on the test drive once again.
And Marist will go back over to the JQ, which they had massive success with during times this series. And honestly, against the Wrecking Ball, if they can land the blades just like that, it could work.
It slows him down, but Ken, you just have like 1,000 HP. You have to get the Sombra and B Comics, or the Tracer, excuse me, to chase it down. They're gonna lift. We're back to this. We're just back to this. And like Marist are able to crutch without their flex support player, which has kind of been the story of the day. And even a Bone is making a name for themselves in this series. By far and away, the player with the most in the kill feed.
Look at that push.
Yeah, man, poor Rom King. They're just gonna go back to the Moira. It's like, just gotta stay alive. And help a brother out in the back line. They are struggling, but I think Kean needed to maybe swap. Leo is it's just gonna get shut down in this ball. There is too much CC for them to try and deal with here from Marist, basically around GGDX, and the summer as well is not going to work. They are going to make the JQ mirror. That's okay. Yeah, you force out the TP and now almost finish.
They do lose out on Rob King again. I mean, if we've learned one thing about Marist is that they do not go for supports. They're like, here, you're going to play an OP role and you're expected to live while you do it. You're not getting any assistance whatsoever. It's tough. It's tough out there for the life of a flex support. But the fact that Kean, even if they're getting these picks, aren't capitalizing on it 100% of the time is still pretty crazy.
And that's what they at least did that fight, right? Like, they had to do... get Rom King, and that's something, you know, Goob and Comex have been great at this entire series. But what do you do after that, right? And that's where they've kind of stuttered a little bit. But that was a great start. Agu is kind of looming in the back line, but they are found out and not going to try and use the recall quite yet.
No, and they're not going to have that opportunity to do the hack. Forcing it out and become still on the Sombra, which is interesting to say the least. We'll see how that plays out in the longer run of things. We're more interested in this JQ matchup, but more specifically how quickly Waffle Iron built up to that sound barrier, and that's essentially a fight winner on its lonesome. Kean, no chance for them to be overrun with the amount of health they have.
No, beautiful sound barrier from Waffle Iron, just sets it. It's like, all right, Leo is not afraid in this duel. You would think maybe initially, like, you know, GGGX has played really well this series on the JQ up to this point. Leo has caught up in ult percentage. They're basically both about to have it. They've done a great job these last two fights, utilizing those knives and having crazy knife accuracy, but EMP!
Ooh. Yeah, Rom King, you're not allowed to play the game. No coalescence, no nothing for you. But a beautiful rampage that hits on to 3. The Suzu was already forced out. They weren't prepared for this to come in. And it's Marist, perfect time to strike on back. More specifically, GG Dax coming in big. The Junker Queen, a comfort pick of theirs, as we're starting to see. So they're going to turn that payload right around.
Turning it right around. They don't use the rampage, though, which is a big. That is very big, especially because Marist, they don't have cleanse, right? Beans, she's been able to use cleanse during some of these. She was able to live, at least for a little bit, because of that during the last fight. Marist do not have that luxury, and they don't have a sound barrier to work with either. If they landed on at least 3, Kean could easily win this fight.
Yeah. This Kean's fight win, as you said.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of them actually pushing the buttons, or maybe not having to push the buttons at all. Wow. I mean, you did the tank and no, pale. Okay. We stopped the robot. No forward spawns will be unlocked, just barely. But yeah, the fact that Kean used absolutely nothing here, Jesse, think about what this does for the future of the ult economy.
Yeah, that's massive for their ult economy. You know, we're going to see if they can press the buttons. They just press W. That's the only one they needed to hit. They didn't need to hit the neighbor next door on Q. Just W. Speed, and more speed from Kean. And, yeah, like you said, now they have the pulse bomb to work with if they want to try and get a sound barrier maybe late in the mid-fight as well to try and have them live. And Rob King almost with the Koa to maybe give Marist a chance. I think I hacked out of it, I think.
No, not quite. No, that was it was a whip. Okay, it's a freaking whip, and that was their fight! Jesse, how is this possible? Kean, you went the whole last time not having to use your buttons, but the time you actually decide to press them, it all just blows up in your face. What?
My curse is transferred. I don't know what else to say, Tiny. I'm sorry. This is getting to uncontrollable territory with the amount of caster curses that have happened today. But like you said, they should have won that fight. They had every resource imaginable, and they will get forward spawn because of it.
Forward spawn, and look at this. Rob King gets to play the game, and okay.
No.
Bye, coalescence. it was fun for the 3 seconds that it lasted, and all right, Kean, they're back in this trade across the board, but Marist certainly down in terms of the health bar. So Kean, they're gonna manage to clean this up. Marist hitting that forward spawn though is gonna be very big as this map continues to progress.
We'll see if a Bone gets it. Granted, they're the person that least, affected by maybe not getting that close spawn.
Yeah.
But that was great. Just, hey, right before Kean is able to touch, they do get the close spawn. But yeah, we're going to cap this quick. Kean now need to win this fight. Make sure, if it is going to go back and forth, each team are activating that forward spawn.
They're gonna start moving on forwards, and Kean, they have to hit this benchmark as soon as possible. And they'll let the EMP to do it, comboed off with the Kitsune Rush. That is a recipe for success, or at least how Rob King shall be going down. Rampage committed on top of this, though. GG Dax, you would love to have that one back at your disposal. Yes, it was an old dump from Kean, and it gets the goal accomplished. And even Marist, it's going to be in a rough situation for the next upcoming fights.
Caesar Salad was just never in a position to pop their ult during that fight, not able to save the team. And now we are tied, soon to be lead here for Kean, unless we have a last-second touch here from maybe Comrade. But they're going to beat into this. Okay, they're gonna get the tag in, so almost a draw, but not quite.
Caesar salad, yeah, you're gonna get the roar on back through. Sound barrier in play. Quick, easy team wipe. What a polarizing series that we've had so far.
The nature of push, just back and forth, and it's like a ping pong game, just going back and forth and back and forth.
Yep.
And now, hey, both sides do have the forward spawn at least available if they hit that tick, which is going to be big for the longevity. If a team can win 2 fights in a row, that may honestly be deciding who wins this map.
Yeah, this fight incredibly important. Comics caught out. Waffle Iron Sound Barrier. Is it going to be the clutch moment? It's already an even trade up. Uh-oh. Rom King Coalescence. Will he get to use it more than 3 seconds? It does. In fact, it very well is winning. Marist, the fight in total. The one time Rom King is left to do exactly what he's wanted. It's the time where Marist can win the battle and Kean are sent to spawn.
A massive fight win there from Marist. Like you said, Rom King got to actually play the game. Fun fact, it helps you win the fight.
Yes.
And that was great. And they also get the stagger as well. But Comics, maybe just trying to scout and gets caught out from a bone, but that is massive here. Just for progress now, 85 meters and counting.
I don't feel like Sombra's gotten a ton of value at all. And, I mean, the Rampage from Kean, it's going to help turn it around. You don't have the cleanse, and Rob King facing the brunt of that. You know, they're gonna manage to stabilize. Leo Leon just for another casual triple kill in the field. Filthy, why don't you? And, all right, Kean, they're gonna get the turnaround here, but looking at winning 2 to 3 consecutive fights to gain that lead.
Gotta win, as like we said earlier, if they win 2 fights in a row, it makes it doable. Marist were able to do that. They got to the 87-meter mark. Now it's up to Kean. Need to win 1 more and maybe even an extra one after that to get the lead. And at that point, we'll be getting eerily close to overtime. Beans has Kitsune Rush to try and engage, to try and build up the rest.
EMP Rampage and an execution of Beans. Wow! Even that hack coming through didn't do much at all. Marist are coming on through, and this is such an important battle for their win. I mean, Kean, they must play flawless from here on out.
Need to be flawless in the use Kitsune Rush. It'll be Comics.
Comics, what are you doing?
Oh my, them and Agu are back here. Just trying to make something of this, but it's not going to work. But Comics is able to get out. And Agu, for now, will actually be able to. So at least no casualties, but again, more time gone.
It does get them up to the EMP and Pulse Bomb, bare minimum. So Kean are walking into this with decent resources should they need to use them. Leone and Agu getting the support line out of the picture. So Marist and have to fall back, and big thing, you have your abilities, Kean. Let's just use them properly this time.
They get the stagger on the Comrade as well. That's massive here for Kean. Is now they have the EMP. The Marist EMP was a big reason why they've stayed in this series and have the advantage now in this series. You gotta be able to land it here and save something for next.
The EMP, though, it doesn't hit a ton. The sound barrier easily able to respond to that. And I mean, Kean, but Comics is going to be the first casualty again. Waffle Hour sound barrier, is it going to save the day? Maybe not, but a coup. Oh, onto the tank. Limited stability available. Nothing to stop this oncoming rampage, but it doesn't hit anybody. How has he done this? Again, Leo Leone, Kean, surely their journey doesn't end here after a near flawless season. It is a Marist, the team who has struggled to find their identity, to come out and take down one of the top dogs here in the ECAC. My goodness, what a comeback. What a series. Marist are going to win out their final game of the regular season.
What a performance here from Marist. They're like, hey, we know you're going to run this ball comp. We found the answer that teams have been looking for a long time. And even though, yes, Leo showed that, hey, we can go over to the Junker Week and we can look decent, Marist got that advantage. And in like natural push fashion, it just comes down to who can win those 2 fights in a row. And Marist were able to do that. And they got to that 87-meter mark. What a nice little end cap for the season here for Marist. Like you said, they've had a little bit of the struggle finding their identity. They haven't really been sure how they wanted to play this. It's been a weird meta for them. But that time around, able to get it done. And all of a sudden, these standings get a little bit more interesting now.
And this was an important game for both teams, being that last week, and this was Marist's chance to break into that postseason. So while it's not completely in their hands, their hopes are alive. They just need Fisher Freaks to beat out Ohio Northern, I believe it is, in their match later this evening, where as Kean, they wanted this match win to secure that first seed, and now that's gone. You're looking at third or fourth even for this squad, and it's an unfortunate way to end their season, but both of these teams wanting to make it to that post, and while Kean, they're still guaranteed, the journey's not over yet for a squad such as what we just saw from Marist.
Yeah, if you're Canes, like, all right, this is the reality check that, sometimes coaches say, like, oh, we want a loss right before the postseason to be like, this is what we need to fix. Sometimes it sucks having that loss, but for Kean, it may honestly be a better thing that could happen to them. It's like, hey, we did lose. We need to fix some stuff, right? Because we're obviously not in the exact spot we want to be going into playoffs. If you're Marist, like, hey, we gave ourselves a chance. Now you just got to leave it into the hands of Fisher. We talked about him in the beginning of the series. They're not typically a team you want to go against, and Ohio Northern definitely have their hands full in that game for sure. But they go from rooting against Ohio Northern a lot of the year and Fisher as well to rooting a big Fisher fan tonight now Marist have turned into.
And what a feel good this has to be for Marist. I mean, they came in 2-3 negative, and they're finishing with an even season, and it's not bad. Their group is terrifying to deal with. I mean, it's not a true statement to how good this team actually is, and perhaps that caused Kean to underestimate their opponent coming into today's series, and nonetheless, Marist, they're going to be happy with the result that they have come away with today, and we're going to be able to hear some of that happiness ourselves, as we do have an interview confirmed with the Tank GG Dax coming up momentarily, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a couple minutes with that interview.
What a game. Take a victory lap, take a bow, and take the headsets off and start to yell.
forces a jump with it this time, and they both stand shielding in the gun smoke, but eventually they both back off again. Pops him up with a bomb and finally gets an up air right there.
He was so dangerous, and if it connected, it was likely to stock. So many things can kill Trajan now at 167. They cannot afford another strong hit here. Staying up high, and they go for the downer on the platform, and Kiwi is there.
But not like that. As soon as it gets that PK fire into the grab, a little bit of scramble situation, knowing that the laser's gonna come out.
It's nared away instead. Arrow doesn't land. Neither of them get to the stage. They get back aired instead. All the way across they go. Bomb in hand. They get side beat as well. And the falling hitbox will lead to the up smash. The dangerous opportunity here. 86% again. Rolls in. This time he gets caught. Sweet spot back air. And that will do it. Out. Gyro on the opposite side of the stage. Dash attack catches the landing. But they will not find the stock quite yet. Forward air will knock Kiwi away once more. They recover high. And they will get caught by the up air. From the right side of center stage. High recovery here from Kiwi. They'll land it onto the hydrant, but they won't be able to connect it. And that's another aerial, and this one will do the trick. A nair instead. Gamer Dog surviving. And we talked about it before. You mentioned touch of death character if they find the opening. Another absorb. Back to zero. Gyro is out and in play. He get it in his hands though. He wanted it at the last moment, but won't be able to get the back throw off the mash out. Maybe let him get out instead. Damage being racked up. Linny recovering low here, and he cannot really challenge. Now grab back throw, and it's one stock apiece.
And we've seen that Tony.
Oh!
What?
It's Fizz Rain here on Tree. That's defending it proper, and they might be able to make magic happen with 2K. Can they pull off a third? No. Braindead might be able to have a wonderful shot. Thrash doesn't see him. A Rolling Thunder is going to push everyone away from C main, but Braindead is in the perfect position.
Oh my god, Brain Dead. There's no way. It's just kind of that holding pattern that we're going to see. There's going to be a nice stun. Oh, here's the opportunity that you needed, but nobody checks it. Doesn't boot goes down. Brain Dead going to be able to find two. Make it three.
That would have been the best scenario, but Braindead actually with a shrouded step on top of the box removed them from their head. Now it's the problem though. Jellin hoping to clear out the rest of them.
Here's the opportunity. You get the res as well for Brain Dead. Now he's going to do three. It's going to be so difficult for Fizz. Oh, but he finds one. Make it two. And he
My goodness, what a way to end the ECAC regular season for their Overwatch division. And what a comeback from Marist in today's series. And we can say it was a fun time watching what was unfolding. A little bit of chaotic, but certainly fun nonetheless. And we get to go even further into the fun and hear how it was behind the scenes as the tank player will be joining us from Marist, GG Dax, as come in for an interview. Thank you so much for coming in. And first of all, I gotta know, after what was almost a headache of a game, as we were talking about up here, what was really going through the team's comms throughout that series?
So mainly it was just us playing to our strengths. We're a really adaptable team. We all have really deep hero pools. So we were all just really trying to figure out what's the best way we can overcome their strengths. And especially after map 1, we started figuring out their ball comp and then matching them on the brawl and really just working it from there.
So were you guys surprised that you guys went to Kings Row, and you guys picked Kings Row, but onwards, like Route 66, it can be a little bit of a weird map and not a very often scrimmed map. When you guys were going into that map, what were you guys thinking? Did you expect the ball? Were you expecting a little bit of something? Because we saw a whole lot. We saw like a Yahtzee board full of comps in that map.
Oh yeah, that was a mix-up. But actually, funnily enough, we actually scrimmed that map on Sunday. We played it on Monday against ONU, and then now we're playing it again here. And we were expecting the ball comp all 4 rounds, but once they got success on their attack, we knew they were going to keep with it, and so we really just figured out the Orisa comp from there. Rom King was actually the one that really started with the Orisa comp. He said, "Let's do Orisa, let's do Brig." And then everyone else was able to piece together the composition from there.
Okay, and I was going to ask, like, obviously the new patch that just came in, Magomed No More, you sounded pretty happy about that when we were in the green room right before. So what do you guys feel kind of is the meta that is settling down? You guys showed a lot of looks, and I think the Orisa comp even has been something that's been lurking.
Yeah, so on our end, we obviously the flexibility lets us play a lot, but we think the meta is really settling in with either the Zarya or the JQ metas that we were showing.
Okay.
I think if teams have good like ball players like Kean just had, obviously going to play into that, and it was a really good comp to play against, and we had a lot of fun with that. But I think overall it's going to come into a brawl with Zarya or the JQ.
And that looked really great for you guys as well, especially being some of the strongest points that we saw from you throughout this series. And I do have one more slightly less serious question, or we've been kind of pondering here on the desk. Like, this specifically came to light. Lijiang Tower and Route 66 were the two biggest ones, maybe a tiny bit on New Queen Street. Are your supports being used as bait?
Okay, so when we were running, I forget what map it was, when we put someone on Zenyatta, yes, that was a complete bait.
Okay.
But
The
most
Ana?
times, the Ana wasn't really a bait, except when they got the first pick on Ana, yeah, we were using him as bait to take the 4v4, 4v3 fights.
Okay.
But other than that, no, typically our supports come in on the dive with us, and so we all fight as one big dive. We typically don't like to bait the supports that well, or that often.
Okay. That makes me feel a lot better for the sake of your support players. I mean, that was an experience nonetheless, and it actually is really cool to hear the strategies that you have behind that we wouldn't have found out if you didn't join us for this interview, which we really do appreciate. And unfortunately, while your season does end here in the ECAC, I want to give you the opportunity, kind of give you the floor for any sort of shout outs, final comments that you'd like to make here on the stream.
Oh, thank you. I want to thank you guys first for letting us come on here and letting us compete. It's been a blast. Really fun season, fall and spring. Shout out to all the guys, Bone, Bear, Comrade, Risings, Rome, and Caesar. Great run this semester. Ariana, if you're watching, great run in this fall. Family, thank you for letting us get here. But yeah, no, it's been one hell of a run, and we want to thank everyone for letting us get this far.
It's so wholesome. I absolutely love that. I mean, it's been a pleasure to have you guys up on the stage today, and it truly never is a single player. It's all about the community, the team, and behind it. And we're gonna look forward to see where Marist Overwatch continues to go from here on out. Thank you again, GG Dax, for joining us on the desk. We'll go ahead and bid you farewell for the evening. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dax.
Thank you.
Wow. It's been salty. Oh, what a day. What a day we've had.
What a series that was. Nice little, nice interview at the end there. It sucks that, they are sadly eliminated from playoff contention. We did talk about that during the break. There was a sense of hope in the casting booth. Like, hey, that win might have been it, but no, the tiebreaker, no matter what, goes to Ohio Northern. So sadly, the end of the road here for the Red Foxes. I believe they have one other tournament coming up, plus the newly announced Overwatch collegiate system. So obviously their semester is not done, but their season here with ECAC is. But hey, they went on a great note, and it's good to know Rom King was not the sacrificial lamb that we thought he was going to be during some of these fights.
Yeah, hey, sometimes having the leading desk in the lobby, whether the fact that you're going in there and you're not getting tilted while you're doing that, I mean, that's what matters. Yeah. And eventually you're making it into a strat. I mean, it's great, even throughout all of the craziness we saw on the screens, that these players, because of how good they are at the game and how knowledgeable, they're able to take these incredibly ridiculous situations and paint them into something that's more manageable, find those patterns, and be able to work off of them. And it's what can separate these truly good teams from the amazing ones that stand at the top, and it's really what we love in collegiate Overwatch as a whole.
Yeah, it's been awesome, and I think like this Marist team, like seeing them like, hey, it doesn't matter what this result is. Like, no matter what, their season was ending tonight, sadly, but like, no, we're gonna give it everything. Still, we're gonna give it everything we got, and it was great to see kind of them take down Kean, and again, Kean, reality check. That's what that match was. That was a reality check back down to earth there for the Cougars, who may have needed that before playoff time. But yeah, what a series to end out, and curious to see where Marist Overwatch continues on back in fall.
We're going to have to keep an eye on this team as we progress into our next ECAC season, but we still have so much more to come here, not necessarily with ECAC Overwatch, but with the rest of the competition happening under Esports U. We're going to have our CECC Last Chance qualifiers for Rocket League taking place tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, and following on Friday for the Valorant LCQ at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to go ahead, follow the Esports U Twitch channel to stay updated on all of these upcoming collegiate matches because, my goodness, you are not going to want to miss them. Twin Salty, it's been great being up here with you on the desk today. And it's very sad that we do have to bid farewell, but we all get to get some rest to be prepared for the ton of esports to come the rest of the week. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you back tomorrow.